In May 1940, the entire world still firmly believed that France possessed the most powerful land army in Europe, an impregnable barrier. Their pride had been forged in blood, bone, and cold steel, embodied in the Maginot Line. A colossal fortified wall of reinforced concrete bunkers and massive defensive artillery stretching along the border. The French were complacent with heavy tanks such as the Char B-1 Bis and the Somoua S-35 with their thick armor and superior firepower. They believed that if a world war broke out, it would only be a war of attrition fought in trenches as in the past. But they were terribly wrong. France's military thinking was too cumbersome. Their tanks, though powerful, lacked radio communication and were split apart to support infantry, while their logistics system still depended heavily on horse-drawn transport. Their enemy had no intention of playing by those outdated rules. In just 6 short weeks, the proud nation was crushed by an unprecedented mechanized war machine, Blitzkrieg, lightning war. The nightmare began on May 10, 1940, when Nazi Germany launched a massive invasion into the Netherlands and Belgium. Perfectly deceived by this feint, Allied generals triumphantly deployed their most elite forces northward for close combat. But it was all a trap. Deep within the dense Ardennes forest, where French High Command arrogantly believed the terrain was too difficult for mechanized forces, a deadly scythe was silently being raised. 3 massive armored corps under General Heinz Guderian were threading their way through the trees. This was not only thousands of high-speed Panzer III and Panzer IV tanks equipped with full radio communication, but also a fully synchronized mechanized force, including SDKFZ-251 armored half-tracks carrying infantry and reconnaissance units racing at full speed on BMW motorcycles with sidecars. No one detected them, and there was virtually no significant resistance in their path. Then, on May 13th, German forces burst out of the forest, sweeping aside all obstacles to cross the Meuse River, officially tearing open France's defensive line. It was at this moment that the monster Blitzkrieg revealed its true form, with absolutely perfect coordination between air power and armored units. In the skies, Messerschmitt Bf 109 fighter squadrons quickly wiped out Allied air forces, securing air superiority. Immediately afterward, Junkers Ju-87 Stuka dive bombers plunged down vertically. The terrifying wail of the Jericho trumpet sirens mounted on their landing gear screamed through the air, just before unleashing devastating waves of bombs directly onto bunkers and communication centers, completely crushing the fighting spirit of French soldiers. On the ground, Panzer tanks advanced like sweeping machines, thrusting deep into the rear. When France's heavily armored tanks, Char B-1, lumbered out to counterattack, they were immediately crushed by a deadly German innovation, the powerful 88mm flak anti-aircraft guns, lowered to fire directly, piercing even the thickest steel armor of the Allies from long range. The French army was completely paralyzed. Its communication system shattered under the speed of the internal combustion-driven advance. French generals, with the sluggish thinking of 20 years earlier, were utterly helpless. France's slow-moving, horse-drawn supply convoys became miserable targets under the opponent's wave of mechanization. Allied forces in the north were stunned to realize they had been cut off, trapped inside a gigantic encirclement. The remainder of the campaign turned into one of the most tragic epics in modern history. Nearly 400,000 Allied troops were forced to abandon all their tanks, artillery, and trucks, crowding onto the burning beaches of Dunkirk, gambling their lives to escape aboard destroyers and civilian boats to salvage a fragile hope for Europe. On June 14, 1940, Paris fell without a single shot being fired. The City of Light sank into the darkness of Feldgrau uniforms and the swastika flag. France's humiliation reached its peak on June 22nd in a railway carriage in the Compiègne forest, where Adolf Hitler arrogantly forced French representatives to sign an unconditional surrender. In exactly 46 days and nights, at the cost of more than 1 million casualties, one of the world's leading military powers collapsed completely. The fall of France was a brutal testament that modern war machines and mobile warfare thinking had permanently ended the era of trench infantry and horse-drawn transport, opening the darkest chapters of World War II.